No, we have not introduced Tembi to you yet. Tembi, you stand right here, right next to your chair there, that's fine. Tembi is a literature evangelist in Johannesburg. She only arrived this morning. Her husband brought her early this morning to be here for today and tomorrow. He's coming to fetch you again tomorrow. Good for him. Welcome here, Tembi. The first part of our seminar, you won't mind if I speak in English because I need all the people to understand. The first part of our seminar will be focusing on souls, focusing on the ministry that we are in. So as an introduction, we are going to look at a few pictures there. Beautiful people. I want to show you some beautiful people who love the Lord and His publishing ministry. These are really beautiful people. Just look at them. Just look at them. There's one of them. Look at those. Kasper, op die foto lyk jy net soos jy nou lyk. Ek weet nie wat. Oh, that one came out dark. She's not there. That's Eunice. Eunice is in Zambia for a meeting. She cannot be here. You want to close that? Yeah, put the lights on. That will help. That will really help. That will help. When we need light, we will put it on the shelf. Nothing you can see. Who's that? Tembi, you recognize yourself? Good. Hey. Oh, Chris is not here. Chris is not here. I think Chris is missing out on something. Don't you think so? Okay. Let's look at the next one. She's not so small anymore. I took this picture a few years ago at one of the gatherings of literature evangelists. Today she's a good size already. How old is she now? 4 years?
3.5.
3.5.
2.5.
2.5. That is Adrian and Sally Angela's girl. She was 2.5 years. But she's now 2.5. Yes, she was just after her birth. Do you recognize that one? Ek hoor die opa lag so lekker. You know, this is interesting. It is very interesting to me that the English language, Pieter, ek hou van die Engelse taal. The English language says grandchildren. They are grand, aren't they? Afrikaans is not so nice. Klein kinders, that's not so good. But grandchildren, of course, the parents also. The grandparents also grand, okay. Daar is die opa. This is the professor. Where is he? Oh, there he is. That's Elijah. This is a group of literature evangelists in Cambodia. I thought I will just give you a little taste. In Cambodia, we never had publishing work in the history of Cambodia. And then in 2001, I got the president of the conference so far to give me permission. He says, well, you can try, but he says, I don't feel bad if you don't succeed. He says, well, it's not a matter of trying, it's the Lord's work. It will work. So we got 15 of them. There they are. And those are the books that they took to start with. In fact, to start with, we gave them books. We said, we'll pay for it, you take the books. But next time you come and you pay for your books. And those 15, they started in May of 2001. By December, they had 115 souls baptized already. 115. The president changed his tune immediately because he could see these are really missionaries. They do their work. Just notice their shoes that they have on. You notice that? Yes. Now you read Isaiah 52 verse 7. Isaiah 52 verse 7. You know what it says? How beautiful are the feet of those who bring the good tidings. How beautiful. They don't wear shoes in the church. If they would have walked in here this morning, no shoes. The shoes will be outside. They don't wear. Even in homes, they take the shoes off before they go into a home. Deur ons Spencer, ons is bly jy is hier. Ons konferensiepresident is hier, hy het vroeg gekom. Baie dankie. Thank you. Pastor Spencer is going to lead out in the 11 o'clock service. But there you have the people with their bare feet. Those are some of the first literature evangelists in Cambodia. This is still in Cambodia. This is on the island of Borneo. Now most of these people, they come from heathen background and from Muslim background. They became Seventh-day Adventists by reading books, taking Bible studies, and now they are literature evangelists. But I want you to notice something else, something very interesting. They dress alike. I would like to see us in the Transvaal having T-shirts on here, Transvaal Conference Literature Evangelist, when we go to the Institute. We must stand out there, don't you think so? Yes. We must show that we come from the Transvaal Conference. This is the conference where things happen. This is still Borneo. That team grew. It really grew. In Borneo alone, in the 10 years that we worked there, we started 11 new congregations. New congregations. And I'm going to talk about this later today or tomorrow morning, how we can do it in the Transvaal Conference. We need to go into unentered areas and we have to start new congregations for the Lord. That's what the Lord expects us to do. Do you agree with me, friend? That's right. That's right. Okay. That's a little man who's born here. He became a good friend of mine. I love children. This is also a Borneo person. Just a few of them there. Let's go fast through them. This is a very unique team. We sent them into a Muslim area where our pastor was killed because he gave studies to a Muslim couple. And then the conference president came to me a few months later after the pastor was killed and he said to me, how are we going to reach these Muslim people? I said to him, send literature evangelists in there. No, he said, you cannot send these young people in there, they will be killed. And then the conference president will be blamed. I said, no, you send them. We will teach them what to do. They started giving not Bible studies, but Quran studies. We helped them to study the Quran. And then from the Quran, because in the Quran it says, he who doesn't keep the Sabbath is a monkey. It's in the Quran. They believe in the second coming of Jesus. So from the Quran, you can start giving Bible studies and then bring the Bible in. They worked there in that same territory for 2 years. They had to survive by selling books. And they did. They did very well. And in 2 years, the conference president had to send the pastor in to give Bible studies to the interests. That's what we want to do at the Transvaal Conference as well. This is JB, one of the leaders, another leader. This man with his truck. You can see literature evangelists are doing well in Borneo. You could buy that truck and he's starting books with that truck. Even his wife, both literature evangelists. Another part of Borneo, where we're a small group doing excellent work. This is Ukraine. While we were in the east, they invited us to come and give training in Ukraine. And I went to Ukraine. I want to tell you about these little children here. Some of them 7 or 8 years old, witnessing for the Lord. This little girl here, 10 years old. This one over here, 10 years old. She came to me. Her father is a publishing leader she came to me. We were giving training in the morning. In afternoons, we said, now it's practical. You go out for a whole week. Morning training, afternoon out. And she came to me one day and she said, my father doesn't want me to go and sell books. Of course, 10-year-old in that part of, it's just like Russia, and it's very dangerous. So I said to him, let me go and talk to your dad. I went to him, he's a publishing leader, he was right there. I said to him, let's send her with an older lady, a person with experience, and see what she can do. And that afternoon they went out, that little girl was 10. She knocked on the first door. She told us the next morning, she told us the experience. She says, I knocked on the door, and the gentleman opened the door. And I said to him, sir, I love Jesus, and I want you to love Jesus too, and he's coming soon. Here is a book for you, The Great Controversy, and he bought the book. He paid for it. That same little girl. Okay. Now, to get into our seminar, the first was just some information. To get into our seminar, let's look at the big five. The 5 most important questions in the publishing ministry. We'll take them one by one. Why the publishing ministry? Who are to be involved in this ministry? Where to do this ministry? When to do this ministry? And how to do this? Now, we hope to cover all of this by lunchtime tomorrow afternoon. And I'm sure we will make notes with you. I'll give you time to write it down. The Ferdi is making a DVD for us. A DVD for us, for those of us who are interested, because all the information will be on the DVD. That will really help us. I don't know about you, friends, but I am excited about the prospects of being a literature evangelist at a time such as this, where people are really interested. They want to know the truth. They are not happy in the churches where they are. We can help them. Okay, can I go to the next? You shorthand. Is it light enough for you? Now, could we go to the next one? Why? Why do we do this kind of work? When you read the Spirit of Prophecy, the Lord, through His servant, tells us that this is an urgent message to give. Our pastors cannot reach every home, but we can. We can. Jesus says, go. Matthew 28:19. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, teaching them to obey, and surely I am with you sometimes to the very end of the age. Is that what it says? Always. I will be with you always until the end of the age. We don't have to be afraid of that. You don't have to write that one down. Just write down Matthew 28:19. What does go mean? Does it mean to stay? No. Go means you must move, isn't the truth? Does it mean sit? Does it mean sleep? Does it mean doing nothing? Go means to move, to act, to run with a message. Isaiah 6, verse 8 to 11. Just write the verse down there. It says, who shall go for us? What did Isaiah say? Here I am, my Lord. Send me. Send me. Send me. Go means action. We are going to give you the plan between now and tomorrow. Follow that plan. Remember your high calling. When the Lord called you, now some of you may feel at this stage that you are not sure if the Lord called you. But I know by tomorrow you will know. The Lord called you, or it's maybe He's saying to you, stay where you are. You can do a great work for me there as well. Maybe that's what He's saying. I don't know. But if He calls you, don't hesitate. It is not easy when the Lord calls, I can assure you. It happened to me. My wife, 2 children, the youngest one was 3 or 4 months, is that right? 3 or 4 months old. My wife was not working because our agreement was, while the children are young, you stay in the home, with the children. We cannot leave them with someone else. And that's what we did. So I had to take the bag, go out and visit people and earn enough money to pay the rent, buy the food, buy nappies as well. Is that right? Because the child was young. But the Lord blessed. The Lord blessed. People told me in the beginning, church people told me, says, you won't last. 3 months and you'll be back in the old job, motor mechanic. That 3 months became 48 years now. I thank the Lord for that. If we listen to the Lord and we do what He asks us to do, we cannot make a mistake. Peter, jy stem saam. Ek weet jy stem saam. That's right. You are a missionary from God. Literature evangelist, that's one word. Colporteurs is another word. Colporteurs. But I think it's missionaries or sender them. I think that's the right word for it, isn't it? If we could see ourselves as missionaries going into a home and not only leave the books that sells easy, but make the people aware of the fact that they don't have the truth. Here is the truth. If you sell a Bible, one of the big Bibles, show them the truth in there. Show them about the Bible studies at the back. And we'll see the results, friends. We will see the results. Evaluate your progress from day to day as you go along. Who must go? Who qualifies to go? Those with hands, with feet, with tongue, with brain, with gift of leading people, a love for souls, a love for Jesus. How many of us have 2 hands here? Let me see. Oh, all of you. 2 feet. You know, I think all of you qualified to be full-time literature evangelists. I really think so. You all love the Lord? Yeah, you're qualified to be full-time literature evangelists. The work that I did as a motor mechanic, I felt that the Philistines can do that. But the Philistines cannot win souls for the Lord. They cannot convince people that Jesus is coming soon. They cannot. Corrie stemming saam. Ek sien jy kan hier goeie so. Glo jy wat ek sê? Good for you. Good for you. Okay, let's go to the next one. Only perfect people. Is that only the only people who could be workers for the Lord? No. Matthew 1 verse 1 to 16. I'm not going to read all of them. But it tells there that Jacob, was he a perfect man, Jacob? No, of course he was not. But you know, he's in the, wat noem jy daar die geslagregister? Wat is die Engelse woord daarvoor? Say net weer? Genealogy. That's the genealogy of Christ. You find Jacob in there. A liar. A cheater. Cheating his own father. But he's one of the forefathers of Jesus Christ. Isn't that amazing? What about Rahab? I don't think we want to talk about Rahab, do we? But she's one of the great grandmothers of Jesus Christ. They were not perfect people. Same with Ruth and David, Manasseh, you and me. God is not calling perfect people, friends. He's not calling perfect people. Ordinary people. Because if you are perfect, if you think you are perfect, and you walk into a home, then those people will feel that you are not on their level. We cannot do that.
En dat is aan jou.
Sê dit weer, Tony.
Dan is die lig op jou, nie op Jesus.
Dis reg, dan is dit op jou. And if you think you are perfect and you are looking for a perfect church, so sometimes people say, I don't want to go to church anymore, I'll go to a church that's perfect. If you find a perfect church, don't join it. Because that moment, that church will not be perfect anymore. Okay, where do we do the work? Matthew 28 again. Go and make disciples of all nations. We had this morning, Pastor Dave, you were not here when we started. We had the different nations lined up here, represented in this room. In this room. And there are how many of them? Zimbabwe? How many? 6. 6 nations. Just in this one room. 6 of them. Matthew 24:14, and this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. Now I want you to notice this verse very, very carefully. Read it slowly. This gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world. If I don't do it, the Lord is going to find another way of doing it. He's not going to wait for me forever. But He gives me the privilege to be one of His missionaries. And I love that. I like that. If I start telling you stories how the Lord is using people outside our church to win souls, to preach the gospel. I just had, we had email a few days ago from Vietnam, where people are very restricted. Adventist people are very restricted. They cannot hand out tracts. They cannot preach the gospel. They can do it in the church and only in the church. Recently they baptized, I think he said 13 people. 13 people. And this is a new day for Vietnam, friends. The Lord is using some ways to reach people out there. I think of our DVD ministry. Okay, all nations, in Africa, Cambodia, Australia, Borneo, Vietnam, Russia, America, everywhere. God is reaching the people everywhere. And I want to be part of that team. I don't want to sit on the sideline. What about you? What about you? Where? We go to cities. The homes in the cities. We go to business conferences. We go to the farm homes, to the public libraries, workshops, offices. There you have them. To churches. Somebody asked me this morning to tell you something about what happened just recently, and I don't think I've told the conference president about this yet. Maybe I can tell you this. We were introduced, myself, my wife and myself were introduced to a lady. She's a South African lady, but she's a director of a mission school where they train missionaries in Russia. And when she heard that we were missionaries ourselves in the Far East, she said to me, why don't you come and help us train our missionaries? These are Sunday-keeping people. Sunday-keeping people, a Sunday church. I could not believe my ears, and I wanted to say no, but the words came out yes. But I thought they will not invite us. For sure they will not invite us. There's no way, when they find out what we believe, they will not invite us. Time went by and I didn't hear from them. In the meantime, we had a Pretoria show, and a person came to the show, a pastor of a Sunday church came to the show. He looked at the books, and as he looked, I tried to sell him a book, but he was not ready to buy. He said to me, contact me after the show. Of course, we had a long list of names after the show, and time went by. In the meantime, I heard from this lady from Russia, an official letter. You are invited to come and help us train our missionaries. I could not believe it. But the last sentence on the letter says that we cannot pay your airfare. You have to find the money yourself. I said to Mari, he said, well, this is it. We cannot go. I cannot go. It's impossible, because where can we find the money? We don't have it. It's thousands of rands. I cannot. But I did not inform her that I cannot come. And then every time Mari asked me, have you informed her? Send her an email? She says, no, not yet. Somehow the Lord asked me to just wait. And then I contacted this pastor who came to the show. He said to me, come to my church Sunday morning. So Mari and myself went to church on a Sunday morning. 9 o'clock, we sat in the church listening to this man preaching. He had a good sermon on tithe. Very, very good sermon. And then after he preached, he called me to the platform, and he gave me the microphone, and he said to me, now tell my people about your books. You tell that to a literature evangelist. That is putting petrol in the fire. I took the microphone and I told them about the books. He took the microphone back after quite a few minutes, and he said to the group, he says, now if you are interested in these books, you can take them. I had enough stock. You can take them. The church will pay, and you pay the church back. He did not know about Russia, but that day they bought enough books to pay my airfare to Russia and back. Did the Lord give me the money to go to Russia? I will tell you what happened in Russia. Maybe I should do that later. Friend, that was an experience. That was an experience. I arrived in Russia, and that Monday morning, sat at class like you, sat there, but no Adventist, of course, all Sunday-keeping people. And I had to teach them how to be missionaries. I did not know where to start, because I was told not to teach them doctrine. So I took my Bible and we started reading the Bible here and there, and slowly leading into some questions. But I gave them homework the first day. I said, tonight, for tomorrow, you read the first 34 verses of Genesis. Don't look at chapters, first 34 verses. And you come and tell me what it tells you tomorrow. The next morning, that was the exciting day. That Tuesday, I cannot forget. The first one, the next morning, I said to them, what did you find? The first one put up his hand. He says, I see in here that God created the heavens and the earth and not evolution. There's nothing like evolution. It says God created. And we could talk a little bit about creation. Now remember, I could not give Bible doctrine. I had to be very careful. The second one said to me, he says, I notice it is first evening and then it's morning. How does that work? And I could explain to them. And I could tell them that the Sabbath is from evening to evening, so the other days must also be from evening to evening. But we didn't talk about which day is the Sabbath. And then the third one comes and he says, marriage is in, the first marriage was in Eden, Adam and Eve. Good. The next one said to me, I notice here in the Bible, in the first 34 verses, that God told Adam and Eve what to eat. I could give them health reform because I was just answering their question. That's all I was doing. I could talk about health reform right there in the second day of my teaching. And then the last one, she sat here very close to the front. She said to me, I notice here the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord. And I gave them a Bible study of the Sabbath. That was the second. I was not giving Bible doctrine. I was just answering their question. But they must have liked it. They must have enjoyed it. Because from there on it was just Bible study after Bible study the whole week. By Friday afternoon, 3 o'clock, the director called me into her office. I did not know what to expect. Because things were going rough in the classroom already by now as far as Bible studies were concerned. And then in our office sat our local Adventist pastor. We've got 2 congregations in that city. She introduced me to the pastor and he hugged me. Tell me, those Russians, man, they break your ribs with them. He hugged me and the director, she sat and she looked at us and thought, this is strange. 2 strangers, the love that they have for each other, they understand each other immediately. And that's how it is, isn't it? That's how it is. And then, after we talked for a while, myself and the pastor, she sat there and 2 or 3 of the other directors sat there. And then after a while, she said to the pastor, she says, don't you want to continue where this man is leaving off? I was shocked. I could not understand this. So he's continuing with the Bible studies now in that non-Adventist mission school. Friends, we can go to churches. The people are ready for us to get the message. They are ready for it. We think the people are prejudiced. I think we are prejudiced. Let's get that prejudice out of us and go to the people and take the message to them. When shall we take the message to them? Revelation 14 verse 15. Take your sickle and read, because the time to read has come, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. Can somebody read it in Afrikaans for us, please? There's something in Afrikaans different from the English one. Janie, ek sien jy het dit daar. In Afrikaans. Verse 15. Just stand when you read, please. Just stand.
En 'n ander engel het uit die tempel gekom en met 'n groot stem geroep na hom wat op die wolke sit, slaan die sekel in en maai, maar die uur van het vir u gekom om te maai, omdat die oes van die aarde oorryp geword het.
Did you hear that? Die oes van die aarde het oorryp geword. Hoe gaan jy dit in Engels sê? Ek weet nie. Overripe. It's ready to fall off. We just have to go and pick it. It's right there. It's right there. The harvest of the earth is overripe. In South Africa, in Russia, everywhere, you can name where it is overripe. You know, in China, maybe I should mention this to you. In China, we used to call it Red China. At the moment, we have more, not Adventists, but there are more Christians in China than communists. It is changing very, 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 very fast. But I think we should change them to Adventists and not only to Christians. Don't you think so? Right. We should do that. Okay, let's go to the next one. How shall we do it? Here we have two of our publishing houses. The one on the left, on your left there, is a publishing house in Spain, Safanis. The other one is in Russia. Now, these two publishing houses, there are 65 publishing houses around the world providing us with material to get it to the people with the wooden soles. 65 around the world. I'm so glad I'm involved in this program. Hendrik, hoe voel jy? You can put your resignation in tomorrow. Revelation 18 verse 1 to 4. Can somebody read that for us? English, Afrikaans, it doesn't matter. Fred, you.
And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hole of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her.
Just up to verse 4.
Okay, this is still verse 3.
Okay, verse 4.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.
Now, if you want to do yourself a favor, you go and see what the spirit of the prophecy, what Ellen White has to say about Revelation 18, verse 1 to 4. She says, to a great measure, this work is to be done by the publishing ministry, the ministry that you and I love so much. We have to call the people out of Babylon. We take the message into the homes, we get people to make a decision. Okay, let's go to the next one. There we are. Okay, let me go to the next one. There it is. These are the steps in approaching people. I want you to look very carefully. First of all, we find names. Now, Casper, I worked with you. Is it difficult to find names? No, it's not. You know, tell us about how to find names, you know. Ina invited me to go with her to a crash. It was last week, Wednesday. This last Wednesday, yeah, this week, Wednesday. And there were a group of people there, parents of course. It was a parent night. And we gave a talk and then showed them the books. And 17 people gave their names. And these are middle and upper class people. Gave their names. Now each one of those give her only 2 names, then she will have a lot of names more than what she has now. Isn't that true? That's a good start. We can find the names. We can make appointments with them people. We can teach her how to make appointments. The introduction. We win the confidence. We open the mind. We give the presentation. We don't want to do it today. It's not the right day to do it. We watch their body language, the diagnosis, the product knowledge, closing the sale and sealing the friendship. The friends after we've sold books, after we've been into a house. That is not the end of our connection with those people. This was only the beginning. We need to keep record of the people that we visited. Those people can be invited to meetings. They started last night in Philadelphia, is that right? In Philadelphia last night with Walter Fife. He's giving, I think, 5 lectures. 5 lectures. Now, because a record was kept of those people who received DVDs, they could be invited to those lectures. And last Sunday, when we met as a group in Pretoria, the pastor of Philadelphia said, please, Adventists, please don't come. We've got more than 300 people booked already. I'm eager to know what happened last night. Because these people saw Walter Fife. Can you tell us? Stand up and tell us, Jan.
Last night there was 500 Philadelphia. They set up an additional tent next to the church, and all the Adventists was moving to the tent.
They put the Adventists in the tent outside the church, and there's non-Adventists in the church. I tell you, what was the meeting like? Good. Yeah. It was full. It was full. The seed is being sown, and we are the seed sowers, aren't we? I'm excited about this. Okay. And this we will do at a later stage. I'm not going to do this. We're going to the next one now. We can tell you how to make appointments and all of that. Just go to the publishing awareness one. Publishing awareness. But after the introduction, I think it will be good for us to see how publishing started, how the printed word started, and why it is such a powerful instrument in the hands of God's people. Adrian will just get it on the screen for us.